Welcome to Abuse Exposed, a podcast about the secret of abuse. Each episode, we deliver intriguing Christian and personal experiences on abuse and how to overcome it. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional mental or medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified mental health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical or mental condition. Now, here's your host, live from Texas, ISpeakMotivate.
Hello. This is ISpeakMotivate, and welcome to the Abuse Exposed podcast for episode 38. I finally remembered what episode because I reflected back. You guys, there's so many episodes going down and, a lot of stuff going on. Can't wait till this coronavirus quarantine is over. Please, Lord, let it stop. Yes, I just want to say thank you so much for listening consistently and being committed to being educated on abuse and healing. We are breaking the stereotypes of abuse every day and also exposing the pain of abuse. Now, we've been having this series called Quote of the Day here at the Abuse Exposed podcast. And the quote that we're going to cover today is, "Never forget that walking away from something unhealthy is brave." And this is from healthyplace.com. Again, never forget that walking away from something unhealthy is brave. Now, in abusive relationships, a lot of the times we're guilted or shamed or invalidated, for leaving an abusive relationship or thinking about leaving an abusive relationship. And that is so sad because usually you'll have people that's like, oh, just toughen up. You're just too sensitive. Oh, I went through worse in my marriage. You young people don't know how to stick it out through a marriage or any other relationship. Oh, that's how I was disciplined as a child. Or it went through me. It went that way with me. You shouldn't feel any type of way about it. So your feelings are disregarded. And we often forget how brave it is to move from an unhealthy environment to a healthy environment, because it is very hard, because you're like, look, it's better to stay with the devil I know than the devil I don't know. So you're going backwards and forwards. Like, yes, I'm in pain here, but what if I get out there and I am helpless and hopeless and nobody's going to help me like my abuser says? So it takes so much strength, not just physical strength, because people just think, oh, they could just walk out that door and that's it with that abusive relationship. No, it's a lot of mind over matter. That's a heavy decision because of that trauma bond that you have with the abuser. It's really, really difficult because a lot of times, even after the abuse, we have that trauma bond with the abuser, and it's still a struggle not to go back. It is an addiction to love and feeling as if, we've given up on that person. So you have that guilt, like, oh, I should have stayed there probably one more month and maybe he'd be better. Or if I stayed, one more year and stuck it out, maybe our marriage would have worked. No, it's because when people decide to have negative, unhealthy behaviors, there's nothing you can do except pray for them and give them their personal space. Disconnect from that, because the only thing they can do is pull you down. They act as if that you control their actions, when in fact you do not. So they are acting as if you have to do this, this, and this in order for me to do the right thing, when in fact you can give them the whole world and the whole solar system, and they're still acting negative and abusive towards you, and it won't stop. It won't stop. Why? Because while your personal decision is to love and care for them, their personal decision is to destroy anyone in their path so that they can feel better and get a high off of destroying someone. However, they will never have that void filled of feeling as if they have a higher self-esteem. They just won't. So guess what? The abuse will continue because they have a low self-evaluation of themselves. So it's going to be a merry-go-round of them consistently putting you down, then acting as if they have remorse, putting you down, acting as if they have remorse. Then it gets to a point in which they don't even act like they have remorse anymore, because this is the thing. It was always an act all the way from the beginning. And that's why I say acting like they have remorse, because they never had remorse or empathy in the beginning. They knew what they were doing. They knew their malicious behavior and sabotaging behavior from the very beginning. They only acted remorseful to fit in societal standards, to act as if they aren't the monster that they truly are. And that is why it's so scary, because they play the part, you know. Narcissists act as if they have to win the Oscar of abuse to make sure that you are completely entrapped. And by the time you figure out you're abused, they want you to feel as if it is too late, and which is never too late to leave an abusive relationship. No matter if you're 25, 30 years in, it is always that time that you can say, you know what, enough is enough. I can leave. You know, it is better to be alone than to be lonely in an abusive relationship. It is better to be alone than to be lonely and abused in a toxic relationship. Because the thing is that you'll have a strong sense of helplessness, anxiety, and depression, you know, walking on eggshells every day. Like, it's too much. Those cortisol levels lifting up, you know, having a negative effect on your body. Stress causing all type of physical ailments and things like that. You aging way faster than you usually would if you wouldn't have been in that toxic relationship. It is crazy the amount of pictures I've seen before and after abusive relationships. You see that the person, they usually look older in the before picture and withdrawn, and they just don't, you know, have it in them to take care of themselves. Because think about it, every day if something's taken from you, you're thinking about surviving. You're not thinking about how you look or anything like that, or anything like that. Or even if you do look spiffy all the time, your face, your body language shows you being defeated, you know? And that after picture shows joy and peace and happiness. And it's so brave to leave an unhealthy relationship, because you're taking a chance to go into the unknown, you know? Because we have all these preconceived notions during the abusive relationship, like if we leave, I'll be alone. Nobody will ever love me again. Financially, I won't be okay. I'll never be able to get a job. I'll never be able to get friends or retrieve the friends that I have had when the abuser made me go into isolation. Like when you finally get that courage to finally leave, you're saying, you know what? I don't know what's before me, but I know what's behind me. And I'm going to fight until I get to become a thriver in life. I'm done with the pain. And you always realize that you're a very brave person, because now, guess what? You're doing something that you haven't done in that abusive relationship, which is to make sure you're putting yourself first. You're giving yourself self-care just by leaving. That you don't have to do anything else. But leaving right then and there, you've performed a self-care. So I just want you to know, leaving something unhealthy is definitely the first step to self-care. Then we move into our healing phase. So I just want to say, you're brave. Even during this abusive relationship, you have the courage. You have the courage. Even if you're in there right now, just sitting there, not knowing what to do, you're going back and forth. Should I leave? Should I not? It's not that bad. Or yes, it is bad. And you're just, going back and forth. Remember, you have the courage inside you. You can do all things through Christ. You just have to tap into it. Tap into it. And a lot of times it's very, very scary to have courage. But remember, you wouldn't have courage without it being a scary situation. So thank you so much for listening to the podcast. You are the absolute best.